This is going to be a video on how I made my cutter cube 7x7. Alright, so now I got the layers offset, but they're also glued, so they're not going to move. I just used a little dab of super glue to make sure that it won't slide around while I'm dremeling. So now I'm going to dremel it. Alright, so I sanded the pieces that were sticking out, so now it's back into a cube, and now I'm going to take these pieces and give them light sandings. Alright, so I've I sanded all the pieces down, I had to take it apart, and now I think I'm gonna start trying to build up these pieces. Or maybe cap, I'm not sure yet. Alright, so I disassembled the puzzle. I've sorted it into piles. Okay, now I'm focusing on these pieces. I'm going to fill these in, and then the ones that are the same I'm going to build up. Got these which need to be filled in. I think I'm going to cap these because there are a lot of epoxy sculpt to cap. Some of these are going to be non-modified, some of them will, just built up. And these are just unmodified pieces. And I've kept at least one sticker on each unmodified piece, so they're easy to distinguish. Yeah. All right. So I got 8 of those edges built up. Kind of looks weird now, but it should be good. Got 8 of those, and I had a little bit left over for this round of epoxy sculpt, so I was able to fill in 5 of these little these cut edges, and that's actually almost all of them. I think there's only let's see, 1, 2, pretty sure there's 8, so yeah, there's only like 3 left to do, so that's good. So I'm going to be able to epoxy sculpt those instead of put caps, which is nice. I'm still going to cap these big edges. And I'm just going to wait I'm going to wait a day and let this stuff dry. So yeah, the way I did this was I just got a blob, and I kind of pinched in between my fingers, not like making sure there's still a bit of room from the side. And then to make sure it was high enough, I got one of these edges and they fit in like that. And then I was just making sure it was taller than that, so you can see it is. So if it's taller than that, that means there's room to sand down and fill in. So I'm just gonna wait for these to dry. Alright, so I got my pieces lined up here like that, and I think I'm also going to just try to do a lot of the rest of the epoxy sculpting just right now, simply because when I sand these pieces, I also want to keep in mind how the other pieces are going to look and everything, and I think it'll be a lot easier if I just do it all at once. Now, I'm a little bit concerned. This is a lot, like most of the epoxy sculpt that's going to be needed. And this is all that I got left. Now keep in mind that this is only one part, so double this. No, that's just, it is a bit, but odds need a bit. So, because I need to fill in all of these pieces, and a lot of these pieces need to be built up and stuff, and then the core needs 4 more pieces epoxy sculpted like this sticking out of it. So I'm just going to unscrew the core completely and just do each piece separately. But yeah, so I'm going to do all the epoxy sculpting now. Alright, so you saw the epoxy sculpt, how much I had. needs a bit, but this is all the pieces that need epoxy sculpt. Top priority is these centers. They need to be built up about as much as this one. These need a little bit, but not too much. Same with these. And there's lots that need filling in. If I can't get to the ones that are filling in, that's okay. I can always cap them. But I really don't want to cap them though, so hopefully I have enough. So I've gotten every single piece epoxy sculpted. So there's the 4 centers. They kind of look strange right now, but they just need sanding. These little edge kind of 3 edges. Lots of this kind of piece. Bunch of these pieces go up against the centers like that. A few of these edge pieces and a few of these kind of edge pieces. I'm not sure what to call them. So that seems like a lot of pieces. It's about as many pieces as my 5x5 barrel. The only difference is there is still a ton of pieces that did not get modified. So yeah, this is going to be the reason why I put all of them, like epoxy sculpted all of them at the same time, was because it's not practical to reassemble and disassemble a 7x7 too many times. I mean, I've already done it twice. This is the second time, because I already took it apart once to sand down all the pieces, but then I had to put it back together to make sure that the pieces sanded down were all good. So then I had to take it apart again to epoxy sculpt everything. And then I'm going to, like, you see here that in this piece you need to just sand down this edge, sand it down, and then once that's all sanded down like that, I'm going to have to assemble it again. And, well, this piece is going to be pointy at the top, like there's going to be a point. And same with these pieces, there's going to be a point on the top. It doesn't look like it, but there is going to be a point. But I can't just sand those down while they're not assembled. It has to be completely assembled. So I'm going to have to assemble it again after sanding all these pieces, and then sand it so it's all good while it's assembled, and then the pieces will be very sharp. All of them will be very sharp because it's just sanding, so I'm going to have to take it apart a 4th time to sand everything, wash the pieces, and then spray paint it, and then put it back together, and then sticker it. So I'm actually pretty close to done. Just a lot of tedious stuff ahead. And if, like, for corners and stuff, like, see here it's a little bit rounded. Well, if it turns out that that's too rounded, I can always put a little bit more epoxy sculpt there. Like same with these, if like these are too small or something, or stuff like that. If I don't have the epoxy, need more epoxy sculpt, I used a lot of it. Like, I have more coming in the mail, but it's not here yet, so this little thing is all that I have left. So imagine that times 2, because I added the other part. So yeah, not much to go back on if something goes wrong. So yeah, I'm gonna dark out, so I'm gonna go to bed and check up on this and start sanding in the morning. Alright, so I'm at a different place, so that's why the background looks a bit different and it's a bit bright. So I've gotten some of the pieces sanded like this. Again, I'm not going to sand the top until it's assembled. Also sanded one of these pieces. And when I fit them together like this, it looks good, but when I fit them together like that, there's a gap. So it's tough to say whether or not that gap is going to happen when the puzzle is assembled, because these pieces have a little bit of give, because they don't sit the same unless they're under tension. Same with one of these edges. It's just really rough, and I won't sand the top yet, but it's looking pretty good. I don't think I'm going to have to re-epoxy sculpt this one. Maybe this one a little bit because I messed up, but I don't think this one either, so that's good. I've also sanded one of these edges. So these ones are looking very nice. They fit together quite well. There's not even really a gap on this side. So you can really see where the original piece is, where the built-up is. So it's kind of neat. See, I'm going to do that with the rest of the pieces. So I got the entire inner layer sanded. So you can see it's looking kind of like a square, except the core is offset 45. So this is like how it should be, a square, but it's looking good. Alright, so I got half of the puzzle assembled and sanded. So you can see here that it's back. These voids have been filled in. And yeah, these pieces obviously have been filled in, but it's looking pretty good. Turning, all I can say about turning right now is it turns. It's very kitschy, and it's loose because it's only half of the puzzle, right? So I'm going to get back to you guys when it is fully assembled. Alright, so I got all the pieces sanded. Well, not the faces, but just the pieces, and it's turning really stiff, but that's okay. But yeah, so it's back into a cube, and these layers are offset 45 right now, but it looks more or less like a cube, so that was the intent, and it worked, so that's good. So now I'm going to sand on the faces. I'm also really glad I didn't lose any pieces on this one, because it was disassembled for over 24 hours. It's a big cube, so that's awesome. Alright, so I got one side sanded flat. As you can see, it's really nice. It's got a good pillow to it. It's nice and smooth, except this hole, obviously, compared to a bumpy, but still pretty smooth. Other sides. This side took half an hour to sand. You can't just sand it, because there's the pillow. So you gotta take sandpaper and just sand down every single one, very slowly, very tedious. This took much longer than I expected, but check it out, like, look at all those lines that are misaligned. That's gonna look pretty cool with stickers when it's fully done. It's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna do that to the other three sides, which should probably at this rate take me about an hour and a half. Great. Alright, so I got the entire thing rough sanded. So right now, this is back into a cube. Sides are nice and smooth. And these layers are offset by 45. So I guess I'll do one turn. I'm just going to save the actual shapeshifting and stuff for the review. This is just the building. I'll have the review out in about a week because, again, puzzle mods take a lot more time to just get perfect. This is just basic how it was done. So you can see the lines line up and it's a bit locky, but it turns. So I'm just gonna, that's all I'm gonna do for now. As you can see, it's way too locky. This is nowhere near a finished product, so I'm gonna have to work on that a bit more. But, I mean, it is back into a cube and it's also really stiff. But that's probably because it has a lot of dirt and stuff, or sand, dust from it. inside it. I don't know what to call it. Anyways, so this was how I made my 7x7 cutter cube. Thank you for watching.